Hey HDC, welcome to Daily Devos. I'm Pastor Evan, and today we are in Philippians chapter 4, verses 5 and 6. And this is what it says. It says, "Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God." When Paul talks about gentleness at the beginning of this passage, he's not talking about how carefully you can hold a little baby or if you can carefully handle a package that has a fragile handle with care sticker on it. The idea that he is getting at in this passage with the word gentleness could be translated for us as believers to the fact that we should be considerate, or we should be reasonable, or we should be gentle in spirit. Really, the idea is that we should have and we should demonstrate gracious humility. Gracious humility was countercultural to the world that Paul lived in, and it certainly is countercultural to the world that we live in today. The world was, at that time and is today, preaching a message that self matters most. Self-love, self-fulfillment, selfishness, really. Gracious humility is the opposite of that drive to satisfy self. We can only live that type of humility out through Christ. And so in the passage, right in the middle, it says the Lord is near, and the idea is that the Lord is with us. And so he tells us that we need to be gentle, we need to have this gracious humility, and how do we do that? It is because God is with us, right? God is near. And so I think that when we look to God, when we look to him to satisfy us, we begin to not look at ourselves, but we look at him. He is going to help us honor him and not be so focused on ourselves. And when we focus on ourselves, that only leads to dissatisfaction, emptiness, and maybe even anxiety. If we remember that God is near and practice gracious humility, our mindset will start to shift. Instead of being focused on what we want or what we need, we'll be focused on the fact that God is with us and that he is good. And so as this passage unpacks, verse 5 really is deeply connected to verse 6. We ought to have gracious humility, and we should do so. The Lord is with us. He will help us in that. And then as we look to God instead of our own needs, we won't be focused on what we need, which might cause anxiety and selfishness, but instead we can practice gratitude, right? With thanksgiving, we should go to the Lord in every situation. Paul's not saying that life is going to be easy. In fact, life is going to throw more at us than we can handle. It's going to be stressful. There will be strain. But instead of focusing on ourselves and being anxious, we can look to God and approach him with a heart of gratitude, recognizing what he has done for us, what he's doing in us, and what he promises to continue to do in us. When we present our requests with a sense of thanksgiving instead of fear or anxiety, we recognize all those things and we practice gracious humility. So today, be thankful and practice gracious humility.